So this is a quick video about SAN and NAS and DAS. Yes, SAN, NAS and DAS. Now SAN is a storage attached network, NAS is a network attached storage, and DAS is a, hang on, did we do DAS? Direct access storage. Now direct access storage would be when you connect your internal hard drives but also external hard drives. So this is normally a setup using a iSCSI connection to your network, to your computer, and your computer will boot over LAN. You may have seen that in your BIOS. Now NASes, such as a Synology box, are attached to the network, and it operates a file share system and other things as well. So the difference between a SAN is that it's a separate network of storage which is attached to the network, so two network rings attached together so that there's communication. The benefits of having a SAN is that the network is separate, therefore you can add security to your data and have your data separately, which makes it more easy to manage and to secure and also to administrate. Administrating data across a network or within your network from multiple devices can be done by a NAS, as we see tons of videos about FreeNAS, Unraid, Synologies and other software and hardware devices such as you would have got from Buffalo, say. So the difference between a SAN and why a SAN is so much better is that it has redundancy. Now back in the olden days, and I'm talking 80s, 90s and early 2000s, the easy way to do a network backup is to copy data to somewhere else, which is copy C to D or E or whatever. So copying your data or replication of your data allows you to have a used or active data and non-active data and an archive. So there's three sets of data, so that when any one of those fail, you can pull across from either one and recover your data. Say for example you have your mobile phone, which I don't have one with me, and you drop it down the toilet after a brilliant night of photography and videos or whatever it is going to be, then the problem is that once your data is lost on your phone, the only opportunity your phone had to back up, and if you're using Android you would have backed up to Google Photos or the Apple Cloud, and your data will be stored on there, and depending on what package or type you had, it was not at full quality, it may have been reduced, it can be, it depends on what package you've got. Now if you have uploaded to a cloud, you've probably paid for that service, and you probably have a data limit, so therefore your data has to be transferred up and it has to be transferred down, which is not the best thing. And no matter what you do with your data is not your own once you've loaded it to the cloud. So some people think that it's a security issue and a privacy issue. So a lot of people will have a SAN or NAS attached to their network, therefore anything that's their computers, laptops, phones, their downloads, their streamed media, sharing photos and videos across the network or outside of the network via a web server to family and friends, the attachment and storage of the data is a consideration. So when you want to consider having a NAS, you will go to the shop and buy something like a NAS. Now you may go and buy one of those USB attached hard drives and back all your data up to the hard drives, but backing up is a complete pain in the neck if it's not automated, and a lot of people, and it's extremely costly to them, used to come to my company for data recovery because a virus had gone through their computers, and in some cases that virus can be transferred straight over to their direct attached storage, depending on how they've done it. Usually it's been a copy from their hard drive directly to a storage drive, and the virus was transferred with it. So this causes quite the big issue, and so we need to find a solution to it. Now the solution in SAN or DAS is a separate storage unit with a virus scanner on it, so it will pick it up as soon as it goes through the system. Another company with 140 computer systems, they were using a virus program which was up to date. Unfortunately, it was completely useless, and antivirus software on your one computer or somewhere in your network does not effectively protect you from viruses, and it won't protect your backup. So therefore you need to have an active backup solution, and there are a lot of companies are using them as their main bulk of infrastructure. That's a really bad idea. That's the same as using a hard drive in one computer. Basically what they'll be doing is they're taking all their videos and documents and everything else, loading them up to a NAS, and then they are everyone operating from that NAS system. So it's a direct attach storage which is shared between many. Now this presents a big issue as to redundancy, security, failover and everything else, because once that one single NAS goes down, that's it, their company cannot function. And if you are a multi-international company or a company who may turn over £1 million per day, then this becomes a big issue, because once that system goes down, it can take 4 to 5 days or £4 to £5 million before the issue is fixed. So therefore it's not a good idea. Now this may go down and dilute down to the inconvenience with smaller companies and SMEs who are using a NAS system to run their networks, but of course I'm here today not just for commercial but for the domestic and best practices, and I've been involved in a lot of internet best practices, policies and procedures, and I'm actually qualified. So where we go in the direction of storage on your network, the best solution is a SAN. A SAN is a network of devices which provides information to the computer systems on a separate network or LAN, and therefore the data and data risks or risks to the data and management to the data is either succumb or mitigated and is easier to manage. So what you need to do is to work out what solution you want, because chucking data on a hard drive is very easy. You can just drag and drop from your desktop and you don't need anything. Alternatively, you can get a Windows XP system, which I believe will do the file sharing, put a hard drive into the old box, I was going to swear then, put a hard drive into the box, right click on it, click share and dump that on your network, leave it switched on, and you can back up your data to it and copy data to it, and you can even write DOS code to achieve that at startup or any other time you want, although it's not the best way to do it if you're doing incrementals and time archive backups, where you have it so it only updates the files that are changed over a period of time. Now when you get a virus in a system, that is detected as a file change, and therefore your data is changed to the virus. So you have to have separate incremental backups, which is probably a better practice, same as Windows recovery or restore or whatever they call it. So what you need to do though is to think about your storage arrangements and to put them in the right place. Now as you'll see from the B-roll, the Synology that I have, it's the 409 Plus, they've built a new system on it and it is going to probably be very problematic. The system design in that box puts the motherboard and hot stuff down at the bottom, right next to the plastic base of it, which becomes exceedingly hot, and the fans are at the top, which will only just about cool the hard drives and ambient dissipation of heat. So therefore the new Synology may be problematic for many. It's unreliable. I did the B-roll because last time I turned my Synology on, because it's not on all the time, it refused to fire up some of the hard drives, and we had some problems with that. So what we don't want to be doing is having these kinds of issues. And of course, once you buy a Synology box, you are very limited to what you can do and your upgrade paths, because they are set and you can only add as many hard drives as there are bays, whereas with a proper system, a computer for example, you may have 19 bays in there which you can increase your storage capacity as you need it. Also, you can upgrade your motherboards, processor, add cards and controllers, and therefore your upgrade path is much better, and I believe it is much more affordable. So there's lots of options out there for building your storage on your network, and it is problematic for many people to understand what you need and how you should do it. There's no real set path of how to do it. It's just a contingency of failover, failures and redundancy. For anyone who's really serious about their data, then the actual issue in the data is the recovery point and storage of the data. Now, I have loads of hard drives literally lying around. This is a 2 terabyte drive. I have 100 and something odd gigs on these, and I have various other drives and systems dotted about over the years. Now, when you are building your network, the whole idea is, instead of having loads of hard drives lying around, is that you conglomerate all the information into one system where you may want to get access to that data. So first of all, you have your live data. Now, your live data is the data that you'll use on a regular basis, such as your folders, photos, etc, etc. So you want to have access to those. Secondly, you want a backup of that data, and in case that first data fails, you want to be able to copy back over to that data. And as you add to your live data, you want to add that to the archive. Now, this is a simple 2-point failover. Now, if one of these fails, then you've obviously got the other one. However, with the risk of viruses and transfers over to the backup data, this becomes a bit of a problem. So I'd always advise any customer or clients that if they have their live data, which becomes very problematic with multi-shares, that they have their backup system and then they have an archive system. Now, the archive system will say in a period of points that the computer backs up weekly to the backup system backs up monthly to the archive system. You have to then spot a problem within the month before the backup system and archive system effectively will protect you. Now, for a month that can happen, but the problem sometimes is that in error correction and failure, the problem is that you can have your backup data on your live system perfectly fine, but then it's actually backing up corruptly, and that corruption then is corruptly backed up to the archive. So you can have a systematic failure just on the point of data. But I've had this issue come a few times with a fault on a hard drive causing the backup, and a problem was because I actually used the backup. So it's always important at times just to go through your backup and check the integrity of the backup. Now, the file sizes were exactly the same, but the actual file was corrupt. So a file checksum doesn't necessarily provide you with any protection against a hardware error. It could have been hardware, and we can say it can be software as well. So what we need to do is to have increments on there, and then no matter where we go back into that archive later, that we have some sort of before the problem caused recovery. So what you need to do is, when you're running your network storage is just a dump off of everything from your original system. Now, that for many will be the ideal solution, apart from the fact that once that's gone or has a problem, that means all of your data is lost, and exactly the same issue occurs with a NAS and if you're using it as a live active share. So what you need to do, and what I'm plainly saying, is that you need to have your backup system your active system, and an archive system. So that's 3 backups, which are 3 separate units. Now your desktop, you probably see the edge of mine here, your desktop is one system of live data. Now if you're sharing this, this becomes a problem, so you have to completely rule out anything to do with what you're doing there. So if you go through and we rule this out, but we hold for it for a short time, the system then backs up to a live or active storage device, and then subsequently is archived. Now the problem you do get is when you're this redundant, pointless, non-existent shared system, is if when I'm sharing my data I need to pull that share over to a DAS so that I'm actually using it and other people can use it and access it too. So it doesn't matter if I have a hard drive or not, and in fact I can clearly nowadays we can say that having a hard drive in your computer is very old-fashioned and unneeded, because you can run from a PVEs or other types of systems for bootloading your computer. So if you have your DAS then separate, then you might as well go all out for a SAN. A SAN and a DAS are slightly different, and the sharing and zoning of your information allows you better control over who gets what and where. So setting that up correctly is going to be a big issue for some, and I'm going to run through in a subsequent video about network storages, SANs, NASs and DASs. I hate acronyms. So what we do is I'm going to end this video here just to let you know that I had done a video before, but I have to take some out of it, and it was an introduction video into how DAS and SAN works, and how NAS, DAN and SAN works. And so I'll be redoing a video, and we will be doing a multimedia storage device and server, so that what we're actually doing is forming a backup system, a media server or share, backup share. I'm just going to call it backup and share, because if you're sharing your data and sharing the backup, it becomes one of the same really. So we have that set up, and then we have your archive set up. Now for many people, how you do it is going to be a cost. Now if you're in commercial environments, we do a budget, and you will find a video on my channel about the costing and planning of the network. It's as a slideshow. You'll see it in red if you go to the channel. Now what we need to do is to work out which way is the best way to do it, and you can actually build your network for a very low cost with high redundancy, but the problem is for many is, where do you keep it? Now keeping all your eggs in one basket is never a good idea, so we'll be looking at your own network storage plus cloud backup, because it makes more sense to have redundancy and be able to pull data backup. I've had problems with a security issue where critical data was tried to be destroyed, and however the data had been destroyed on the network, but unfortunately that failed because it was stored both on separate hardware and somewhere else as well off site, so that the data couldn't be destroyed. And that was probably let's just say it was significant data, and we'll leave it at that. So do subscribe if you want to follow me. I'm a bit old school, old fashioned, eccentric, and I am disabled, although it probably doesn't come across that clearly as to what's wrong, and I probably do a short video on my disability so that everyone else can know exactly why I communicate the way I do. We'll just put it down to that. Right, and I'll shut up now and I'll let you enjoy your day. Do check back, do have a look at the channel and see the projects such as GWISP, gaming systems, servers and clusters, which I will be doing. And we'll be doing them on a budget. I hate using the word budget because I'm just going to be using the thing of a cost-effective medium to produce a solution. Budget sounds quicker, but yes, that's the terminology we'll use. So I hope you enjoy. Click subscribe, notifications, or whatever it is that you want to do, and maybe you'll find your way back here at some point and some key advice of how to do things the easy way. I've seen other videos and oh my god, I would not do it that way. There is huge amounts of information and software packages which I know because I've been in the IT industry for a very long time, and I look a lot younger than what I am, and I should be a lot more grayer than what I am. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.